Have you ever wondered why certain entrepreneurs radiate an infectious energy, even when their ventures appear to be in constant flux? It's as if an inner flame guides them through late-night brainstorming sessions and carries them past every stumbling block. This story begins in a bustling cafe, where the aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingles with the palpable excitement of dreamers scribbling ideas on napkins. From a corner table, you observe the spark in their eyes and wonder if they're driven solely by the promise of wealth. But look closer, and you might notice something deeper, a sense of purpose that transcends financial gain. Like characters in an epic tale, these individuals chase the thrill of building something meaningful. They're not mere fortune hunters. They're visionaries fueled by the sheer audacity of their dreams. In this narrative, we'll journey with one such founder as she uncovers the powerful why behind her startup. Along the way, you'll discover that money is rarely the prime motivator and that a grander purpose, a profound mission can sustain you when everything else feels uncertain. It all started with a half-baked idea scribbled in a worn-out journal. It's a notebook that already housed countless sketches and random musings. Our protagonist, Helena, had always been driven by creativity, a passion that manifested in her urge to sketch shoes, handbags, and accessories. One rainy evening, while flipping through her old drawings, she was struck by the simple beauty of a single doodle, an elegant handbag with an inspiring quote embroidered along its side. It read, "Carry hope wherever you go." In that flash of insight, Helena felt something shift inside her, a whisper that said, "This is it." She couldn't quite articulate why this design resonated so powerfully, but she knew she wanted to share it with the world. In the following weeks, Helena's thoughts revolved around ways to transform that scribble into a tangible product. She wasn't driven by the possibility of selling thousands of bags. Instead, she was consumed by a feeling that this vision could spark something bigger, quiet revolution of hope woven into everyday life. Her excitement was palpable, yet doubt lingered in the corners of her mind. Friends raised eyebrows when she shared her plan. Starting a fashion brand isn't easy. Do you have the capital? The connections? Helena's heart pounded with a mix of eagerness and uncertainty. She had never run a business before, let alone one that demanded a combination of design talent, production know-how, and savvy marketing. Still, there was a voice inside that insisted her idea could make a difference. All she needed was to figure out its deeper significance. Why? Strong enough to carry her through every potential setback. So, with the unwavering conviction that comes from an almost spiritual calling, Helena began sketching prototypes and researching ethical production methods. She sought out sustainable materials, local artisans, and supportive mentors, each step of the way. She was compelled forward by something beyond a simple desire for profit, driving force to offer products that embodied both style and substance. And so, the seed of her journey was planted. Helena's early days were a blur of activity: mornings spent visiting local factories, afternoons hunched over her laptop learning about e-commerce platforms, and evenings carefully packaging the first handful of orders. The money trickled in slowly, just enough to sustain her fledgling brand. Whenever the pressure mounted, she would remind herself of that initial spark, the notion of carrying hope, both literally and metaphorically. This why turned into her mental anchor when things got tough. At first, she felt awkward explaining her mission to skeptical buyers who wanted cold, hard numbers. Yet as time passed, she saw how her authenticity resonated, as customers appreciated the sincerity behind her designs and sensed that her handbags were more than just fashion statements. They were symbols of optimism, kindness, and positivity in a world often dominated by fleeting trends. Helena might not have been flush with cash, but she cultivated a devoted community who championed her cause. In these moments, she realized that real success isn't measured merely by revenue, it's also found in the hearts you touch. In her quest to stay afloat, Helena discovered the art of storytelling. She began weaving her mission into every marketing campaign, drawing people in, not with flashy discounts, but with a sincere message of purpose. Her brand's social media posts showcased each bag's journey, from the hands of skilled artisans to the final embroidery of uplifting words. Potential customers were given a backstage pass to the creation process, witnessing how every detail aligned with Helena's vision for hope-infused fashion. Soon, her fledgling audience turned into true believers, celebrating every milestone. Alongside her, they championed her brand as though it were their own, leaving glowing testimonials and inspiring word-of-mouth growth. Whenever Helena visited a local market to sell her goods, she was met with warm smiles from supporters who admired her determination. In these interactions, she began to see that the real magic wasn't in her product alone, but in the genuine, human connections it fostered. Each time sales dipped or production snagged, she remembered her original why, the promise of carrying hope. Still, the road was not a straight path to triumph. Helena confronted logistical nightmare shipping, delays, sudden cost increases in raw materials, and the occasional disappointing feedback from customers. There were times she found herself on the brink of giving up, thinking maybe they were right. Maybe this dream is too big. She would lie awake at night, crunching numbers and imagining worst-case scenarios. Yet in her darkest moments, she recalled the very essence of her mission. Money wasn't the ultimate goal. It was merely a byproduct. What truly mattered was the spark that inspired her first design. That unwavering why had to shine brighter when the numbers weren't favorable. So she pushed forward. She listened to critiques with an open mind, using them to refine her designs rather than feeling defeated. She collaborated with other small businesses, hoping that a rising tide would lift all boats. And slowly but surely, she discovered that resilience grows from an unshakable purpose, fueling you even when the odds seem stacked against you. Along the way, Helena met fellow entrepreneurs who also carried a sense of mission at the core of their work. One had launched an organic skincare line that championed women's empowerment in rural communities. Another produced artisan jewelry, while reinvesting profits into local education. These founders were not naive about the realities of running a business. It had their fair share of stumbling blocks, from funding shortages to supply chain hiccups. Yet they all radiated calm determination, as if they'd discovered a hidden wellspring of energy. Over coffee discussions and late-night brainstorming sessions, Helena realized that their secret lay in anchoring themselves to something far more powerful than profit margins. Each had crystallized a vision so compelling that it acted as a shield against pessimism and a compass guiding every decision. These encounters reassured Helena that her own why wasn't just a whimsical notion. It was a strategic necessity, a lifeline that would keep her brand authentic and resilient through every high and low. Buoyed by these insights, Helena decided to scale her business with a renewed sense of clarity. She revisited her brand's mission statement, making sure that every stakeholder, employees, partners, and suppliers understood the deeper purpose behind each bag. It wasn't about racking up sales figures, but about ensuring that every product told a story of hope, empowerment, and ethical craftsmanship. To this end, Helena began hosting workshops for her team, where they would reflect on customer feedback and brainstorm new ways to integrate messages of encouragement into the brand's designs. They also created a mentorship program for local artisans, further solidifying the link between commerce and community development. Slowly, this holistic approach started attracting attention from press and social media influencers, who praised the brand for its honesty and vision. Profitability improved, but more importantly, so did the sense of unity within Helena's growing circle. It was as though a blazing torch of shared ideals had been lit, illuminating a path not just for success, but for lasting impact. Of course, challenges didn't vanish overnight. With expansion came new worries, managing bulk orders, meeting stricter quality control standards, and balancing the mounting financial obligations. Helena found herself in high-pressure negotiations with potential investors. She worried about compromising her values for the sake of capital. In moments of self-doubt, she recalled her earlier interactions with other mission-driven founders, and how they balanced ambition with integrity. She also remembered the many heartfelt messages from customers who said her brand helped them see fashion as a force for good. These reminders reinforced her conviction that the right investors would understand the core mission, and respect it as a driving force. So, Helena persisted in being transparent, even when it felt risky. She openly shared her intention to keep every product rooted in sustainable materials and hopeful messaging. And in doing so, she found partners who believed in her why, just as fervently. Their investments weren't merely financial. They were endorsements of a dream built on passion and purpose. Now, as Helena looks back on her journey, she sees how crucial it was to root her business in a cause that went beyond profit. That initial doodle in her notebook wasn't just a random sketch, it was a roadmap to a venture that would one day inspire others to carry their own hope into the world. In the beginning, she had believed that if only she discovered her true calling, money would follow in due time. In many ways, she was right. But more than the revenue, what truly nourished her soul was seeing how her brand brought people together under a banner of shared ideals. Investors, customers, collaborators, all were drawn in by the promise of something more meaningful than a transactional exchange. This intangible sense of community and purpose became the bedrock on which her brand flourished. And by keeping her focus on a mission bigger than herself, Helena managed to transform each struggle into a stepping stone for growth, fortifying her resolve to keep moving forward. In retelling Helena's journey, we uncover a central truth. About entrepreneurship, money is often the most visible outcome, but it's rarely the most essential. A powerful why acts like a gravitational force, pulling the right people, opportunities, and resources into orbit. It becomes the emotional core that keeps founders steady through late-night anxieties, market downturns, and unexpected obstacles. If your sole motivation is financial gain, the inevitable challenges of entrepreneurship can easily dim your enthusiasm. However, when you anchor yourself to a purpose that resonates deeply, setbacks become catalysts for innovation rather than reasons to quit. Helena's story exemplifies how a brand rooted in authenticity and conviction can flourish, even in a crowded marketplace. Yes, passion alone isn't enough. Practical business strategies and meticulous planning are also crucial. But passion guided by an unwavering why serves as the fuel that propels you past inertia and self-doubt. It's the quiet, steady fire that burns at the heart of every truly transformative enterprise. So the next time you find yourself mulling over a startup idea, ask not just, how can I make money? But rather, why does this matter? The difference is subtle, yet profound. A founder obsessed only with profit might build a lucrative venture, but a founder guided by purpose stands to create something timeless in endeavor that leaves a positive mark on everyone involved. When the going gets tough, your grand why will remind you what you're fighting for. Replenishing your energy when your bank account looks bleak or your critics grow loud. It's the lighthouse that cuts through the fog of uncertainty and points you back to the reason you began in the first place. Helena's story is proof that holding on to a vision bigger than yourself isn't just a romantic ideal, it's a strategic advantage. And if you learn to harness that advantage, you'll not only stay afloat in the choppy seas of entrepreneurship, you'll navigate them with purpose, determination, and a spirit that refuses to be extinguished.